Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast. My name is Jerry Jimenez. This is Buck 09. Depending on where you're seeing, I guess it's my, oh no, that way. My left. Switzer Drew Stack. What's up, Drew?
Yeah, your left, my right.
Yeah, I get confused, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then down there.
That's why you gotta watch.
See, look, I did it again.
Know which
I
way
was
we're
like,
looking.
not over there. Down there.
Down.
Mr. Steve Brokaw, what's up, man?
How you guys doing? It's been a nice week off, hasn't it? It's been a nice week off.
No.
Oh, by week off, you mean, yeah, tons of life events for all of us.
Wah,
that
wah,
we crammed into a
wah.
week.
Yeah, lots
Hopefully-
of news. We got a lot to talk about.
Hey, we have a lot to talk about. Episode 45. Let's get this thing going. So here's the thing. I don't know if my audio is going to work. I think it might have been because I was using a weird browser. We're trying to figure it out. So we'll play it by ear. Everybody here in the comments, please let us know how we're sounding to y'all. If you're not here live with us, welcome in. Let's go. Let's get this going. Episode 45. We have a lot to talk about. We have a bunch of club news, a bunch of things that happened since we were last here. So let me lower the volume here on this awesome song. Oh, no, you welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast, Brandon. Let's see here. Oh, people, Nick, Thomas, what's up, guys?
That's my line.
My line. We're gonna start off by talking about what we're drinking. So this is actually I think the last beer that's in my fridge. I'm gonna have a Creative Creature Brewing Bantha Milk. It's an oatmeal milkshake ale with blue raspberry slush syrup, marshmallow, and milk sugar. It's crazy. There's a little Bantha.
Damn.
A big Bantha.
Yeah, gnarly.
Yeah, it's a great series. Just
Nice.
anything Star Wars from Creative, anything from Creative is great, but that Star Wars series is just fantastic.
Dude, yeah. So good. What are you guys having? Drew, what are you having?
Yeah, I'm drinking Thorn Relay. Again, this is good. Just keep them coming.
Dude, that's a good beer.
Nice.
Numbered pack. Yeah, it's good.
That
It's
is
a
a
good
good
salt.
beer.
I like it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got to drink more Thorn, and by we I mean me. So that's my new beer's resolution, if you will.
New
Yeah.
beers.
Doesn't
Nice.
have to be a new year to make a new beer's resolution. It can be anything.
Surprise, surprise.
Look at that. Pizza port. of
Coastal-
course.
Coastal
What's that?
Access. This is a phenomenal IPA. Very good.
Okay.
Very, very good. My
Hey.
my kegerator's been dry a little too long. I've been trying to figure out what I want next. The 109 keg situation didn't work out. So I've just been kind of waiting to figure out what I want to get next. So hasn't really happened yet, but I'm happy to buy some cans.
Shame
a hole in
on
your
Brian.
keg and a hole in your heart.
I know.
There you go.
Shame on Brian. I will message him and complain. I'm gonna say my president didn't get his keg. What's up with that? Well, cheers. Cheers. I'm gonna pop-
Cheers, brother.
Is this loud enough for you, Nick Duffy?
Whoa, dude, chill out.
Yeah, there you go.
That's pretty good. That's good. That's good right there. Hey,
Yeah, it's
I'm in
perfect.
right here. If you're in the chat with us on YouTube or Bum TV, as we like to call it, what are y'all drinking with us today? Let us know. I'm very interested to hear what y'all are
Yeah.
drinking. Apparently, we're creatures of habit because I always am having a Creative Creature beer. Drew's always well, not always, but as of
I'm
recently,
having a partner beer.
you Thorn,
Drew mixes it up.
and Steve is the only one that's having not a partner beer, and
Mhm.
always is having pizza port. But that's okay. Maybe we will. Maybe that's what we're trying to do is convince them to become a
Maybe so. Maybe so. That'd be dope. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Duffy. Mr. Duffy is I can't believe the month he's having. The month that we have the most home matches. He's done a sober month. So massive props to him. I'm not sure I could quite undertake what he's doing, but I want to shout him out for
Is he really?
the sacrifice he's making. It's incredible.
Gone full dry July, but it is one of those. He said to me, he was like, you know what? It's a good thing to do. I just don't know if I'm going to choose July next time. It doesn't have to rhyme.
Can't
Even though
believe
it
it.
is pretty fun. It is kind of one of the worst months to choose, but
Wow.
I applaud him for that effort because I think it's something we should all do healthily
Nick,
sometimes.
why
Is
not?
fast from fast our livers from what we normally poison them with. So my poison of choice tonight is going down very smooth, though. So I applaud. Cheers to you, Nick.
For sure.
Here you go. And everybody else drinking Wasser or water in the comments as well. It seems like you're not alone. So it seems like we got a number of people out there. Ooh, we got San Diego wine. There you go.
Watermelon seltzer from Marissa. San Diego wine.
You got a twin. Yeah, your twinny. They're wearing the same T-shirt, Jerry's.
Hey!
Watermelon seltzer. There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out, Fair Pod.
Before we move on and whatever, I want to shout out Marissa. We know by now she is moving, so we're going to miss you, Marissa. You've been a big part of kind of what we've built here, all the way back to the Soccer City days. Really involved with what was one of the coolest things that came out of that was Foodie McFoodie Face. That food drive we did is a huge part of that. So I want to shout out and just say we're going to miss you around here, and best wishes to you going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that Steve said, and that goes for all of the locals. We go miss you, but we're gonna enjoy you for a little bit. Hopefully, we get to see you this coming Saturday, which we're gonna get into talking about in a bit.
For sure.
Thanks for being part of the community, and you'll always be part of the community. It's just sometimes your journey takes you somewhere else. So we'll love having you be a part of the community and give us insight from a distance, possibly, of kind of what it looks like. Because sometimes we need that 30,000-foot view. So best wishes and luck to you, Marissa. But let's move to the weekend, as we were saying. Let's get into that.
Let's go.
Who are we gonna play? Who are we playing?
Some team from Chandler.
Chandler, yeah. Chandler down.
Some out-of-state team.
Some out-of-state team. I was actually just in their state. It was terrible. So like we had fun and everything, but the weather there, I mean, just I don't know.
Muy caliente.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's get into like why it's been a weird and bad week, right? Like not because of Loyal. I mean, there's been some stuff that's come out that we're going to talk about, the Warren situation, but good stuff also. But it's been super busy for all of us. Steve, how you feeling, man? He was sick for a bit too.
Yeah.
And I was almost feeling it today, man. I'm good now, but like I started kind of feeling like there's something in the air again.
Yeah.
And obviously in the kind of not a situation, in the like world that we live in now, anything immediately everybody goes, oh my God, it's COVID. Oh my God.
I know. I don't know. Kind of Sunday midday, I started feeling a headache come on and kind of a sniffly nose and kind of a scratchy throat. And I just kind of got a cold, just like a normal cold. I feel like we've all been kind of cooped up and our immune systems are I've taken a little vacation and it kind of got me. So I was pretty much down for the count Monday. Monday, I was like sleeping. I was asleep Monday. Tuesday, I finally was feeling a little bit better. And then Wednesday, I kind of made myself get up, walk the dogs, go to work. Still didn't feel 100%, but better. And then today, I'm feeling good. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah,
back at it.
I started a job, right? And so like literally my body wasn't ready to get back to work. And so I've been trying to adjust. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then Drew's been having a whole bunch of stuff too that he's been doing at home and having to deal with along with work. So,
yeah, just living. I felt kind of not great earlier this week too. Is my mic okay here? Because I keep getting told that I'm in a different room or unavailable. My sound is literally all the way up, so it cannot go any further up in terms of where the volume is going to go here. So yeah, the selling your house is never fun.
Can you turn it down a little bit? Because you're like really
literally. If I go any more down, this is where I'm at.
Actually,
is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
We'll keep that. Okay. That way I'm at least in the same room as you guys, not leaning in the doorway being like, hey, I have a comment.
No, you're good.
But
okay. Everybody else just like,
cool. I trust Ben Foreman. I'll wear that t-shirt.
You're much better.
But yeah. So anyway, the thing, selling a place is never fun, especially after everything that everybody's gone through in the last year or so, just like all the different checks and stuff of having to move in and out. And so that's kind of what I'm going through. And I also felt like not great earlier today, but I didn't want to say anything because I was like, solidarity, don't be the guy dropping the ball. But it does just feel like everybody's hanging with a little bit of something, and maybe it's just pushing so hard right after we were given a little bit more freedom, I think possibly, and then also being able to go all these games. Just felt like game after game after game after game. So maybe it's just your body telling you like, hey, take it easy for a minute, So yeah, I think we've had this little time here to take it easy and ramp back up this weekend. So I'm excited to do it.
I agree.
Yo,
before we move on, we have. Sorry, Jerry, go.
No, I was just saying that there is, like we took a break, but there was a bunch of games still going on. Some very exciting games. So we'll get into those. But what were you going to say before we do that, Steve?
I was just going to basically say the same thing before we move on to the upcoming game. There's been a ton that's happened this past week that we really need to get to. Like we said at the beginning, we have a lot to talk about. And we will cover that. But Jerry, that was a better transition than I had. So please take it away.
So we got to see our upcoming opponents just beat the crap out of Galaxy 2. It was not even. I didn't even feel like it was a game. And what's frustrating for me is seeing Phoenix so easily be able to take teams out, where I know that we can do the same, but we haven't been able to. And maybe we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to Phoenix. I mean, but they are the best team. So do you not compare yourself to our hated rival? Right. And something like this, taking us out 4-1, and then Galaxy 2 5-0. That sounded weird. Galaxy 2 lost 5-0 to Phoenix. It was very interesting to watch. Maybe different players. Obviously, I don't know those stats or whatever. But how did you guys see that game? Because I watched it and it was just a complete massacre. Like Phoenix was running circles easily around this team.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch the game. But, again, shouts to the USL Championship website. They have really good extended highlights, and I checked those out a couple times, and it's pretty easy to see Solomon Asante is a beast. He's a very good player. I think he had 3 goals and assist, or 2 goals and an assist. I can't remember if it was a hat trick or a brace, but regardless, it's just clear to see he can just dominate a match when he wants to. So
he's definitely the MVP of the league so far.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't think there's a debate on Asante for sure. And then you just look at them; they're playing at a different gear, and for some reason we don't get to play LA Galaxy 2. Maybe we will in our next match where they're not going to allow fans. We can show them how they're going to get beat either way. But I do think we don't seem to get them when they're playing just like out of shorts. But you can out of sorts or out of shorts, either one. But you get them like this where Phoenix is just clearly the better team, and they just weren't playing for anything. It felt like you're seeing guys just kind of drag behind balls here that were hit behind them. So hopefully we get a taste of that from Galaxy. But from Phoenix, it shows they're just as razor sharp as always and going to be able to hit you in spaces where you think, hey, we're covering well. We've dominated for 30 minutes. And even then they can punch you on a counter just so quickly just because of the speed they have. And their vertical passing game is pretty incredible, and some good diagonal passes too that are something that's always hard to defend against, and that's where Grant Stoneman hopefully would be helpful because we get to keep him this weekend versus where we were last week, which was not being able to get that. But it's going to be exciting to see what's going on here in terms of this weekend, because you have 2 teams that couldn't be playing better. I think right now it's going to be fun.
I think this game will definitely give us a better idea, even though we're still I would say early in the season. I don't think that we necessarily have seen everything, what to expect. Maybe with USL a little bit more. I don't think things will change too much just from watching these other teams in the Pacific Division play. But we need to keep an open mind and say anything can happen. It's the US in general, MLS, NISA, USL, all the leagues in the United States are just you can never predict. From one game to another, things can change, because it's not just one team. It's not just you that changes things. It's everybody that's below you and above you that can lose or win games, and then you're thrown off of your position. Like, for example, right now, tied for second or second, third. I think everybody was saying, and I keep seeing it, that it was because we have played the same amount. Goal differential is not the first decider of you get second or third, right? It goes first to how many games you've won against that opponent. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, that's my understanding. So I think the USL Championship website for standings is incorrect per their own rules. Like it's pretty baffling, right? How they don't have that right.
It's almost like they just use some open source software that does it based on a different tiebreaker, and they never programmed it differently because they've never had this issue.
Yeah, so pretty much what we're looking at is San Diego Loyal currently in second place, Phoenix Rising in first, and you just saw Phoenix Rising and being in first
5
for
points.
a reason, right? Being Galaxy 0 by 5 points,
and a game in hand.
and a game in hand. Correct. So then,
yeah,
here's the thing, though, and this is something that I'm excited about. Actually, let's talk about Orange County. So Orange County goes into Rio Grande Valley and
like a lot of people this season,
don't get it done.
Yeah, Rio Grande's been good this year. They've been surprised in their division. You know, we're not in the division, so we haven't really seen it after we played them. Yeah, we got disappointed there, but it was a string of disappointments. So I think we forget. But you look back and you go, oh, RGV's put together a great season. So that loss almost doesn't seem as bad now. It still sucked, but it's one of those things where it doesn't seem as bad because really they were, you know, a good team. They were just a tiger waiting to pounce, and so. It worked to our benefit. OC also had trouble and couldn't get it done. So nice to see, see those guys keep trucking. And RGV's been a team in a club that's kind of gone through some different phases. So it's good to see them just have success on the field. That always helps, community and helps a group that maybe hasn't been as forefronted in USL a number of years just because they're in a weird part of Texas that nobody really visits. But good for them, man. Yeah, they sometimes you get, sometimes you lose. We lost before, and now we get back those points. It feels like almost in the chase because of the fact that they were able to deal that to our rivals here a little bit. Rivals, the people to the north. The White Walkers, if you will, above the wall.
The RGV, actually, I didn't realize they were doing pretty good. So they're at 24 points with 13 games played, with a record of 7-3-3. Recently, the last 5, they are at a draw, 1 loss, win, draw, win. So, 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss for Rio Grande Valley. So they, Orange County was going to go to visit them, and they just could not get it done. Orange County is a great team, but that brings them to now 2 straight losses for the season, and also brings them up to a same amount of games played as us, same amount of points. Only thing is a goal differential that I can see as a difference, which is that Orange County has been able to put it in the back of the net more than we have, and hence have a 5-goal differential, whereas we have a -1, right? I mean,
I think a lot of that's just the early matches in the season that we just we couldn't keep it together. We couldn't keep the ball out of the net, and we had a lot of bad losses. And most of our wins have been pretty narrow wins, so we just haven't been able to make that up. But
I think I've
ultimately,
said it before.
Go ahead.
I think I've said it before on this podcast that let's take a minute. I think I said it last week. Take a minute and enjoy that, because we started the season with 0-4, right? And now here we are. Mm-hmm. Battling for
who thought we'd be here? The GIF with the landing coach of the month, too.
Right?
Oh, did you see that? The club went in and was like, "Well, we knew." Okay, buddies, whatever.
we're gonna not like this Paul Rudd meme that everybody loves. Okay, fine.
Shout out to San Diego Loyo for being silly along with us. But it's exciting. And what I was gonna say, now that we've talked a little bit about Orange County, just losing 2-0 to RGV again, it puts us in a position where you look now at the bottom of the table, or I should say underneath us, right? So we have Phoenix Rising at the top, Orange County, San Diego Loyo, top 3. And then everything underneath that is kind of up for grabs, right? Because you have a team that's only played 8 games, but has 6 points. These guys have won 1 match. And I'm talking about Oakland Roots. Then you have a team like Sacramento Republic, who we thought for sure would be in the top 4, at least I did, and have played 12 matches and only 12 points to show for it, with 6 losses, only 3 wins on the season, 3 ties. And then you have Galaxy 2, who I think we were all expecting Galaxy 2 and Tacoma Defiance to be a little bit lower. And again, 13 points. There's a 3-way tie with 13 points there with Vegas, Tacoma, and with Carson. And it's very much unlike what I was expecting. But what that does now, if you look at it, I mean, if we keep up this winning, even if we don't show up against Phoenix Rising and we continue to show up, I think we're in a good place now, where the team directly following us in points would be Las Vegas Lights with those 13 points, and Tacoma with 13 points, and Galaxy with 13 points. We have 21. That's pretty good. Pretty darn good.
Yep.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I think it's almost global soccer, that you consider a good team who gets average of 2 points or more per match, and we're not quite there. 13 matches played, 21 points. It's been a tough division. It's been close. Tacoma obviously beat us earlier in the season. That was a rough kind of a wake-up call, and now I think our next up against Tacoma next week may be a little bit different. We're in much better form. So obviously those first 4 matches killed us. The first 7 of 8 away was just a really tough stretch to open the season. Obviously, still kind of feeling the effects of COVID, but here we go. We're trying to make up for a rough start, and I think we're doing so pretty well. 9. I think it's 9 unbeaten in a row. Obviously, the Xolos match was a friendly, so that doesn't count against the kind of the streak we're on. But we're making up for it, and we're playing some really good soccer right now.
Totally. Yeah, I think one of the things that you pointed this out, you called them out in the comments, but Ben made this point when we were going through previous games, which is we have massive issue with keeping clean sheets. So this is something moving forward, I think, will be more of an emphasis from the defenses to see if we can shut teams out. I think it'll bode a lot better, especially as you get towards the playoffs, where we've had so many of those points lost at the last second, too. That's also what's been so frustrating was between that RGV game, the Sacramento game, when we have had heartbreak, it is typically, and even Phoenix, those 2 stoppage time goals, it's always been late, right? And so it's just tough to see that kind of interplay. So I think from that point, like it's we've had one keeper who kept a clean sheet. It was Austin Guerrero. So you want to see some more consistency there in terms of the defensive backs across the board in terms of how we play defense, and maybe it is just a style that they know with a certain keeper they're going to play out a certain way, and maybe it has to do with an entire team effort in that choice, but it does seem to bode the question as to why the ball always seems to go into the net every single game versus other teams like Phoenix, where even though they're beating the heck out of LA Galaxy too, they didn't let in any goals, right? That's the difference here going into this weekend is can we get there against them? And similarly, they have that pedigree versus we haven't really shown a consistent ability, I think, either last season or this season without John Kempen, right, to do that, who is Superman, as we know it. So that's something that I'm looking forward to and hoping, kind of good vibes into the weekend defensively. But, it's something that I've been concerned with for a while and banging the drum about. So cool comment.
Hey, throw it back there. I want to give you a different perspective on that.
Go ahead.
If I could, please. Ben, maybe let's think about actually everybody here who agrees with this, because I don't necessarily like what I'm about to say, but I just want to give you guys a different way of looking at this. I don't think that we have a massive issue with keeping clean sheets. I think that the way that our club is playing, the way that they are purposefully putting out the product that is our team, our squad, makes it so that it's difficult to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Because we want to be scoring goals. Now, those goals haven't come as easily as we probably want them. So I would say we have a massive issue with completing our opportunities rather than massive issue with keeping clean sheets because of the way that we are meant to play, the way that Landon and Nate have said that they want us to play. And so just maybe think about it that way.
I just want those free car washes, bro.
I do too, man. Trust me. That's why I said I don't necessarily like what I'm about to say because I want a free car. My van is nasty out there. Okay,
it's a fair point, and I mean we could talk about this for another half an hour. We have a lot else to talk about, so I think we should move on.
Yeah, tactics for sure, but no, I think it's
a fair point.
Yeah,
you come here for tactics. You're not listening.
No, but that's what we're talking about here a little bit. Is if you do, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. When you want to be more offensive, you're more suspect to the counter, and especially where some of our goals have been this season in terms of just some guy getting caught out in the wrong spot and then balling it in. So this weekend we hope not to see that. But there's a couple more, news pieces before we run into the match too. Just one of the pieces I'll hit real quick is Landon is Coach of the Month. That's great. Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty neat.
I think it also, we should give a shout out to the entire coaching staff because I don't think
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think beyond that, Nate Miller, shout out, as we were just saying, tactics. I think it's worked, right? The mission was, hey, keep sticking with us. And Landon was the face of saying this, stick with us. It will get better. We all knew that part of the back end of that was the conversations he's having it with his assistant coach about what they're doing and how they're trying to push a certain style of play. that they promised since day one, and they've always said it'd be exciting, and they were not wrong. Games have been very exciting, and when they score and they win, like this last week against Orange County when they came back, that's pretty exciting, right? Even with 10 people, you can get it done. So that's what I'm my note on that. Any other notes in terms of, we should expect this in some ways from Landon Donovan, right? To get accolades and win awards is kind of his thing in some ways, but he's earned this, I think, in a lot of ways by sticking with the process and sticking with his staff in a way that's not being wavering, really like unwavering completely, and making sure that they stuck with the vision. So maybe changed a couple of things here and there, but overall it seems like they're playing the way they want to play, which is exciting.
My favorite part of that whole thing was that probably Landon, Coach Landon pictures will very rarely ever be him without a logo scarf, and I love that.
Yeah,
so very much.
Yeah.
So we were winning the award too around his neck. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah. Steve, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, Drew, what you finished with, that they have made adjustments. I mean, props to sticking with kind of what they were doing, but I would also give higher props to making adjustments. First match at Phoenix, where we got completely stomped, and then the 3 weeks thereafter, there was a lot of sloppy soccer. There was a lot of bad stretches where we just could not possess, and I feel like they changed some stuff. Right, there's kind of a double pivot thing going on with Charlie and Colin. Colin, has a little more freedom. Charlie has a little more freedom. That's definitely different. Metcalf going up and down the flank. Elijah hasn't been starting as much, which I've been kind of surprised about. But that seems to be working. Kind of a 3-back in possession. So yeah, I think there's been a lot of adjustments. Miguel Ibarra coming back. I think he had a rough couple games up front, and then he really seemed to settle. So that's obviously coaching, getting up to speed with the system. But yeah, there's definitely props here, right? There's a lot of what they have done.
A lot of players coming in and out too, right? Different loans. Yeah. And they had to adjust with all of that. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there's definitely been adjustments for sure. I just think the support of everyone involved has been pretty consistent, which I think is incredible when you look at a really bad stretch of play and a good stretch of play, and it's consistent, right? All of the messaging and the emotion around all of that. Obviously the highs are more fun and everybody's smiling, and then the lows aren't as good. But I think the ownership of each has been equal, which I've loved to see from this coaching staff and from the players. Personally have very much worn it on their sleeves and said, hey, we have to be better here, or it's so great that we could do this here, but the eye's still on the prize. It's still the playoffs. It's still doing it when it matters. And we have to be ready for that. And so even not just winning this game this weekend that we'll talk about right now, but that's the kind of thing that I've loved to see too, is just that messaging is obviously seeping in all the way from the chairman to the coaching staff to anyone that's kind of how they're going to handle their businesses, being at a championship level, which is great for the USL championship.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, you're our president, so I think you should probably talk about this other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last topic I think we have before we get to this weekend's match is the news that Warren Smith stepped down. He stepped down as president of the club. It's definitely not a secret that he hadn't been around. Right, last year he was very out there. Right, that home match he was at the parking lot with us. He marched with us in. Tom tells a great story about kind of that. It's a really great story. And then he was in the stands with us, right? And then this year he hasn't been around. All we know is what's been released publicly, that he just stepped away for personal reasons, and that it is what it is, right? We're not the kind of people that are going to be poking and prodding and asking for more information when it's for personal reasons. It's not really our business. We just have to trust that San Diego Loyal and that Warren Smith made the right decision together for him to step away. And it's sad. It's sad to see, right? I mean, going way back, I've told this story before on this podcast and especially in John's documentary. But Warren, Daryl, Ricardo, and myself first started meeting in December of 2018. It seems like forever ago, because it kind of was. It's like 2.5 years ago, where we started meeting and started having these conversations about what the USL is, what USL could be in San Diego. And now he's gone. He stepped away. So it's kind of sad to see. I hope the best for him. I just want to say, thank you to him for all the work that he put in. He chose San Diego, and he put his heart and soul into this club, and it was kind of always his thing to say, I'm gonna launch this. I love this. I have such a passion for this. And he did it. He did it in 6 months, really, from announcement to first match. It was a ton of work. He put together a really good team there at the club offices, and he built a really solid foundation. That's kind of the statement that we put out. The foundation that he built, we're going to keep building on, and we just hope that the work that we do can kind of live up to the standard that he set as well with the club. So, I just wish him the best. And again, it's really sad to see. I hope that he's been tweeting, he's been responding to people, he's been saying a lot. That he's going to be back at the stadium, and he'll see us again, and I really hope that's true, because I think that it would be really cool to see him around and to see him see this club grow kind of in his shadow. So again, shouts to Warren. Really going to miss you around the club offices, and whoever they choose to step in as president has really big shoes to fill. I think there's some good in-house candidates. I think they're going to do an extensive search. I fully trust Andrew. I know he's as committed as ever, having conversations with the club often. I know he's incredibly committed to this. So I do not have any doubts that they're going to make the right decision and the right hire. But it is still sad to see a change at the top when I know that he had such a passion for this, and he still stepped away. So I hope everything's okay in his life, and I hope to see him around, guys.
Yeah. No, he's a person who, when he first showed up, I thought of him kind of like a white knight syndrome, like, oh, I'm going to show up and do this thing. But in reality, what it was he was taking his reputation and saying, right after we had an epic failure here, to convert an idea into reality for a lot of different reasons, he was coming in and saying, I'm going to stake my reputation on the fact that this city is a great place for exactly what Loyal is now. He saw it. He was like, this is what it could be. It could be here. It could be here now. It should be here. It should have been here 2 years ago. Like, if Soccer City never happened, he said, like, I was trying to go earlier, almost, I think is what his thought process was. Obviously, the timeline with Sacramento was a little bit before that, but he's always thought of this market as somewhere that he'd had an eye for. And so it was pretty cool to see him say, I'm going to stake my reputation on creating this. Otherwise, I don't believe we'd really be here, because you'd look around and you say, okay, there's other people doing this, but he was really the person with the engine that got the train running down the track. And so it's sad, because you're seeing in the Thomas the Tank Engine analogy, like, you're seeing Thomas get swapped out, and Thomas is everybody's favorite. Now you're getting one of the other engines, maybe, who's going to be great, right? But it's it's going to be different. It's just a different face, that's driving that train and pulling the cars behind it sometimes, or pushing them from behind if needed. But he's a great face that I'll always smile when I see, because of what he represents in terms of believing in a way that Ted Lasso season 2 comes out tonight/tomorrow. So believe. But he was definitely a person like that for me, who said, like, hey, believe this can happen here, and believe that it's going to happen, and it did. And so props to that guy always for this, and I'm excited to see where it always goes, because he'll always be a part of that bedrock. But it's tough. It's hard. You can't move out bedrock, right? You can just build on top of it. So that's how I look at it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have very much to add to that. I do, on a personal note, and completely talking for myself and not speaking for anybody else, I do think that the foundation is still being built, and it makes me really sad that Warren is going to get to finish building that with us.
I think so, yeah.
And that's the thing.
It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it, and so he will definitely be missed. However, I do feel that there is some people in the front office that will very much, do a fantastic job and can take up that mantle. That is a very, very heavy thing to carry, because, I mean, there's only one Warren. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that he will still be part owner. He will still be around, and I hope that he's always been a man of his word. So I just hope that he continues to be that way, and that we get to see him at least a couple more times this season, at least. I think that'd be great. So, all right.
Before we move on, I want to say that, in our original locals video, when we named this supporters group, what did we say, Jerry? We said the club staff, front office will come and go, but who remains? It's us, right? So this is something that we're gonna have to deal with. It's not to see so early in the club's history, but we're gonna be here, right? I'm gonna support this club for forever, and that front office is gonna come and go, and we're gonna have relationships with those people, and this is gonna happen. It's just sad to see it happen now.
Yeah. What Jeremy said right there too is a very big part of also how I'm feeling. And he very much was the one spearheading, looking for a home, and you know, I'm not sure who is doing that now. So I hope to hear from the club soon. Maybe we can.
It leaves us with more questions than answers, I think, a little bit, right? As to why now and what. But again, as Steve said, it's not to pry. It's just to kind of wonder. And the answers, I think, will become clearer in the next, 3 to 4 months as to who is the person to look to for that. Maybe it takes till the end of the season, too, for them to say, hey, we found the right person and now's the right time to bring him in or something like that. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting moving forward. And again, if I see him around, it's try and buy him a beer, but usually he'll try and hand you in first. Is kind of the problem with that guy. So, and then you're just having lots of beers, which is never a problem, I guess. So, cheers to you, sir.
Yeah, there you go. You want a beer, Warren? Actually, I have 2 in my pocket.
I actually have a backpack full of them. Here you go, just like Mary Poppins, pulling them out. I'm just hoping for more of a Gordon than a Percy when we're talking Thomas the Tank Engine analogies, guys.
Oh my God!
Since it's lighting up the comments over here, but that's my thoughts on who the next president should be. We're looking more Gordon. No Toby's. Toby's a caboose.
So
Ben, you said it well there. Club first. People are going to come and go. You support the club. You support the city. And you got to deal with the people who come and go, and it is what it is.
It's been our mentality from the beginning. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So let's get into this. 7:24, y'all. We are 2D. I can't spoke today. 2 days away from listening live with us. All 19 of you here live. There's 2 days before Saturday's match. 7:30 p.m. kickoff. We face off against Phoenix here at home. Phoenix Rising's record away isn't the greatest, but it's also not too bad. They have 2 wins, 1 tie, but 2 losses. So only 2 losses of the season have come at away games. And we, I believe, gave them 1 of those.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's right. Ooh. I remember that one. That was a fun game. Fun game. Yeah. So that was a fun game.
That was a very fun game. So we get to see him again very soon here in the next 48 hours plus, not too far away in the future. And it's a very important match. We're gonna have a lot of things going on this match. One, it's very important because it could potentially be this is the Pacific Division top 2 right here, and so not only a fun one to watch. Obviously, the rivalry is there, but also we're gonna be celebrating Pride. June is Pride Month. But because of Phoenix coming in, I think they wanted to wait a little bit. And I know that I also think like SD Pride is during this month, isn't it? So
yes. It's not during the quote unquote normal Pride month, even though the whole point of Pride is normal is not normal. But yeah, Pride is typically the previous month to ours in most cities around the country. San Diego's does it a little bit differently. There's a number of cities, I think, that actually do it alternatively in July for various reasons as to having their own Pride celebrations before National Pride was really a thing, is typically the thought there, I believe.
Nice.
But yeah, it's cool. So it all coincides, and yeah, we got that section next to us. The Pride section has been nicely enforced in a different number of games, but this is the big game to kind of have an out and proud section there, and it's going to be really fun to have that right there next alongside us. Hopefully, we can extend flags maybe to 2 sections. We'll see for this game, but it's going to be, I don't know, just a ball. It's going to be super fun. And I believe that they're going to hopefully be joining us pregame as well. That's kind of the idea is anybody who's coming out to the match, either in our section or their section specifically, we would love to have you at the pregame as well. So it's going to be just a whole fun day. I'm really looking forward to Saturday for a lot of reasons, on the field, obviously with Phoenix, as we're going to talk about, but in the stands, this is going to be, one of the more fun things that I think we're going to do is community outreach in terms of engaging the community and trying to bring people in to say, hey, there's not just that, but here's a space for you to celebrate that at a sporting event is just kind of a unique thing still. It shouldn't be in 2021, but, it's something that we should always see more of. So I'm excited to be not only there but out, proud with them next to them here. Will be pretty fun. I just really want to match my T-shirt up to the icon in the corner. Sorry, Steve.
This guy. So along with the celebration is going to be a bunch of merch there from the club. Yes, Brandon, I believe you can buy the scarf that you get with your ticket in section 110. It's the scarf that they sold at the last match, which I have right there. I think it's right there. The Pride scarf. It's pretty rad. I love it. And it's I think the one that they're giving out, if I'm not mistaken. So don't quote me, but I do believe they're going to have that on, like you can buy it. You don't have to necessarily buy a ticket in section 110. But if you decide to, then you can not only scream and yell and chant with us in one section over, but also you get a really cool scarf. So if you're listening and you're not part of the locals or have tickets in 109, which you should, you can also get them in 110. Right? And then I think we're going to be having members of Rainbow Loyals as well set up during Bum's parking lot, if I'm not mistaken, and they might have a few surprises as well. So you'll have to come and see. That's going to be our little hook. Y'all have to come and see at Bum's parking lot, which starts what time, Steve? 3 hours before?
3 hours before, so it'll be 4:30. 4:30 things open up.
And there's going to be food from Belinda's food truck. There's going to be some music. We're already working on a playlist. Go and add some music to the playlist that our director of marketing, Nicole Peterson, is putting together there on our Discord. So make sure you do that. But again, it's going to be a fun night of celebrating, Pride, celebrating being inclusive and being, just yourselves and being us and having a good time. And welcoming everybody. So it should be a blast. And let's see, what else we got? Last match versus Phoenix. Oh, that's right. Yep. Their last match versus Phoenix.
14 games in, we're gonna play all 4 against Phoenix. So kind of speaks to maybe an easier second half of the season. We're still not even halfway through the season. That's kind of crazy to think about, right?
That's weird. We're still not even halfway through. Most sports, they spread out these games, right? They'll put like a couple up front. Usually near the end of the season, you'll throw some of these more competitive games. So it is weird. Steve, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
real odd.
No, it's but if we're gonna try to get first place, this is a must win. You always talk about there's a lot of games left, etc., but you have to win against the top if you want to beat the top table wise. Otherwise, you're playing a lot of the same opponents and you expect a lot of the same results against those opponents. So you're basically going to run parallel. You have to win against the top teams and then beat the teams you got to beat. So if we want to take that crown, which I feel like we can. Obviously, last time Phoenix was here, we did win. I think we can do that. So huge implications. I agree. That's a great point too. If we win, we own the tiebreaker, and we all know it can really come down to that at the end of the season. So, and I mean, they always say get in the playoffs, and it seems like we're on that right path. Obviously, that is really early in the season to say we are or we are not locked in, but. You always want to win. You always want to win that division, especially against a team like Phoenix, who are just cocky I'm hoping that we can pull it out this weekend. And it should be really should. It doesn't seem like we have any big injuries. Drew, you mentioned Stoneman. His first yellow card got rescinded from the appeal, so he will be available after the red card last week. So that's a huge.
How can we appeal the rest of his yellow cards? Or
yeah, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
He needs a lawyer. We'll get one lawyer whose whole job is just to repeal Grant Stoneman. Are you Grant Stoneman? Have you gotten a yellow card? Do I have a number for you? Via Better Call Saul for yellow cards? Who is this guy? Anyway, there's a Bum TV show. We'll make that one happen.
Grant Stoneman wasn't gonna play this match.
Yeah, that would have been Nick Minute.
That's right.
But it should be a good old soccer match. It should be probably one of the best matches we have left on the home schedule. As far as the soccer on the field goes, and probably the intensity on the field. These loyal players hate Phoenix, and that they want to gain points. They want to earn this. If we win, we're only 2 points behind them, and that's not insurmountable. If they win, that goes to 8 points. That's a lot. So we got
That's too good of a way to looking at this. Stoneman will be available to get at least a yellow against Phoenix.
For sure.
There we go.
You can guarantee he'll get a yellow.
But yeah, that'll be
big match. Big match. Big match in the season.
It's crazy because it is almost like we're mirror objects now. We started off the season so cold, they started off so hot as normal, and then they kind of had a little rough patch while we were finding form a bit, lost a few points in there, and then right in the last 4 or 5 games, we've all kind of hit our stride, coming right back at each other like 2 racehorses down the finish. Even though it's just it's not even the middle of the season, as you said. So it's like they're going down the second straight, and it's like, okay, this is going to be a race. So the other fun thing is coming out the back of this, as he was pointing out, if we get in the playoffs, like you need to have that at-home advantage against this team because we've shown that we're a much better team at home too. So it's just one of those things where it feels like a must-win because the odds of us going to the championship increase at least 10% if we're at home through the playoffs. I really do believe that, if not more. Because it's just such a difference, especially against Phoenix, than going to that weird box that they built out in the desert. That's, I'm sure, nice, but it's still in the middle of the freaking desert, as they like to say from Ocean's 11. You get out of the stadium, you're still in the middle of the fucking desert. There you go. Sorry, kids. Explicit tag on this one.
I already cussed.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's going to be. This is what you tune into USL for. I'm kind of disappointed this won't be a national game in some ways, just because it is such a good game, right, compared to some of the other games that have been up there, which are also good. Anything we've played this year has been really entertaining, but this feels like it's going to be one of those, unmovable objects, unstoppable force kind of things. Is kind of where we're at here, and not sure which one's which, but we'll find out Saturday, I guess.
Yeah,
Saturday. I hate Phoenix.
Absolutely, this Saturday is going to be amazing. Hey, listen, we go into this match with the same record for the last 4 matches: 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 win. Win, draw, win. Both of us. But they're coming with the 5-0 win. We're coming in with a 2-1. So it's a little different. We played Orange County, but they played, the Galaxy. We're out there. This is going to be
I will say that I think the momentum is almost equal, right? I mean, they're coming off that 5-0 win. That's a lot of momentum. Yeah. But we're coming off a 2-1 win where we had 10 men and we scored 2 in the final 30 minutes when we had.
And unjustly had 10 men.
Right, like that's that momentum means a ton, right? So that I'd say the momentum's almost equal regardless of the result. But yeah, there's a lot of this is a big match, no doubt.
Yeah. No,
Ben, yes, that's correct.
What
win, draw, win.
Jeez. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Still buzzing over that one. Yes, it is. Yes.
It's flipped.
And
win, draw, win.
Win, yeah. And if you cut off the last 30 seconds of the Sacramento match, it would have been a win. So it was down to the hair, and that's where you got to close, right? To Ben's point earlier, that's where you got to close. So we'll find out this Saturday. One of the things that was encouraging this week is the player who has been the best for us this season and almost all time, not named Miguel Berry, is Jack Blake this season has been extremely good against Phoenix. I believe he scored 3 goals against them, all bangers because he doesn't do other goals. He only does bangers. Jack Bangers only. There you go. And yeah, he's being extended by the club. We found that out, and this is just a weird not a weird thing, but like a good weird thing in the sense of weird. You don't see it happen often, and you don't see it in the middle of a season a ton in any sport where they go, hey, we're halfway through a season, here's a contract extension for a player. Usually it's done at the beginning of a season or the end of a contract, right? In a USL, your contracts are typically shorter, season-long contracts. So to have this kind of an extension is almost, it's not Tatis-like, but it's close for USL. I mean, this kind of thing where you're going 3-4 years out, or in this case, 3 years. That's pretty impressive for this league. So I'm excited to see him keep playing. He's in the prime of his career, so that means we get to see hopefully the prime of his career here with the Loyal crest on. And how do you guys feel about it?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still stuck on. Yeah, Bangers. I'll figure out who Mash is.
Yeah, we need a masher.
Yeah.
Masher Montgomery. Banger Blakey and Masher Montgomery. We'll workshop it.
But yeah, I mean, we talked about this a lot, especially early on in this podcast life. When we kind of did a lot of USL intro stuff, but this league is full of 1-year contracts and that get renewed or, players move on. There's a ton of roster turnover. It's not like, the European soccer that we're all used to following, or even Major League Soccer where there's 2, 3, 4-year contracts. Like Most of these players are on 1-year deals, and then they come back if the manager wants them back, or if the staff wants them back, then they get another contract. And if the staff doesn't want them back, they don't get another contract. So this is like pretty weird. It's basically a 2.5-year contract, right? Because he's under contract this year too. But I think that the staff just kind of said, you know what, he's amazing. He's an amazing player. He's an amazing midfielder. He can kind of play as a 10. He can kind of play as an 8. He's got pretty much all the attributes you want to see at this level for somebody who's going to do what he wants to do. He's young enough. He's obviously proven that he could stay healthy. He won with Real Monarchs as the captain, so we know he's also capable of captaincy and kind of a leader in the locker room, even if he's not, quote unquote, one of the loyal captains. He's still a leader. But yeah, it's really cool to see, right? It's cool to see that the club commit to long-term success. It's cool to see them kind of break the mold of what USL usually does, to bring in a player who's got a proven track record and is going to continue to bring success, right? To me, this is kind of a sign of like they're gonna spend the money to do what it takes to win and continue winning and continue being a successful club. So this is like, it might be a minor thing, like, yeah, great, he's a great player, let's bring him back. But to me, this is a bigger sign of kind of who this club is on the field. At least we already know who this club is off the field and what they're all about, but on the field, and their long-term commitment to success. So this is a really, really good sign.
I think for me, Jack Blake is one of very few players that I've seen put on the San Diego Loyal jersey and leave everything every single time that he gets to play. Every single time that he sets foot on the pitch, he leaves it all on the pitch. He puts everything into it. And so for him to get an extension and have a little bit of a clear picture for the next couple of years and be able to say, hey, I don't have to worry. I don't have to think about where I'm going to go next. I'm going to be here for a while, and I get to just kind of settle in now is huge. I don't think that he's the kind of person that would go the negative route, which is like, cool, I have a contract now. I can sit back and chill, because he knows this league and he hasn't experienced a team like this. And I can sense it in him, the way that he talks about us, the way that he talks about the club, everybody in the front office, the way that he whenever you get to talk to him, and the way that he hugged me when he got the man of the match, told me he was very sincere about the way that he talks about us and the way that he talks about Diego in general. So with this, just like you said, it's so rare, but it's also literally one of the best moves that the club could make, because one, now everybody around him sees what the club expects. Now they see, hey, the club gave him an offer to be here for 2 years because of the way that he's playing.
Right.
So now everybody needs to step it up to earn that as well. So it's big. It's way bigger than you could think. Yes, we're happy Blake is staying, of course, but there's other things that come along with that. And I think it was a very well thought out thing to offer him this 2-year contract extension. And
it sets a tone. Yeah.
Yes.
If you play like he does, will reward you. And I think what I love about Nick said it here, you can see his hunger. I think the reason he ends up on the ground half the game, and not like half the game, but it feels like it, right? He's always the guy getting hit, is because he does what I do sometimes too, which is like he gets to a ball and people can't. I have these freakishly long legs, and I'll surprise myself. I'm like, how did I get to that? My like extendo leg, but he is just running at such a pace that I think he can get the balls the guys don't think he's going to get to, and then they'll go in lazily on it, and then they'll take him down, right? And that's why he gets fouled a lot. I think is just because he's so tenacious in a way that most players aren't going at that speed most of the time and have the fitness to keep up the way that he does and still score, late in games or be effective. It's really impressive in a player. So it's just, he has something they obviously wanted him before the season, right, as well. So they've been courting him for a while, wanted him here, recruited him here, and now got him here. And so I do think part of this is saying, hey, we've gone through the stages of this relationship. Let's keep it going, because it's going to be great for both of us, both the club and him as a player. And that's what you love to see. It's really just what you want to see is that mirror image. And somebody I'd love to see more of, I think, this weekend especially too, would be him and Guido finding more of a combination there as well, just because it feels like you just haven't had them two firing as much together, but I'd love to see some of that because you'd love to see two players that would like to be here for a little bit, kind of going off in that way and showing that, talent can kind of rub off on not only that, but the style of way we play and how they consume this as well. So it'll be fun to see kind of those different players in the core of this team develop as they continue to hand out, hopefully, different ways to ensure that it's going to stay together in some ways with certain players. And I think that was clear from that last year to this year. And then obviously true halfway through the season here, not even, here you go, 2 years extra onto the contract. And I'm just excited. That way you buy a Blake jersey, it's a good insured jersey, right? Nobody wants to buy the jersey and be like, oh, the guy's off the team the next year. So like it gives you a jersey that if you want to buy that 7, it's pretty safe. There you go.
It's much safer than others for sure. But
yes.
check this transition out right here. So obviously it speaks, like I just mentioned, and we all mentioned, the importance that the club is putting into having a solid team, a solid squad with the right people. And it also maybe goes into talking a little bit about what the USL could be changing into, because the norm has been that these players are going to come in and out like year. Very rarely are they going to stay more than 1 year. And when they do, it's, for maybe another year, and then that's it. And so that goes to speak a little bit to not just the clubs maybe changing a little bit, San Diego Loyal maybe being at the forefront of this, but USL making some announcements recently, Steve, that lead me to believe there is some changes coming very, very soon, if not within the next couple of years, which in soccer terms is like pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, shouts to Jeff Ruder always. I think it's, before we move on, Jeff Ruder with The Athletic. It's amazing that The Athletic has a pretty dedicated USL championship reporter. He does an incredible job staying up to date and reporting what the league is up to. That's kind of how we heard this. We heard that essentially from kind of what happened was MLS created that D3 league. I think a lot of the MLS 2 teams are going to drop to that D3 league. I don't think that all of them are going to be doing that in 2022, but I believe all of them will be by 2023. And essentially what that does is that breaks the USL MLS relationship or dependency from what it was before, which is, currently right now, all the MLS 2 teams play in USL Championship. And without those teams, USL can basically say, we can do whatever we want. We're no longer tied to, any MLS Big Brother situation. So the news that came out, if you guys haven't read it, please subscribe to The Athletic. They don't sponsor the show, but it is incredible. It's worth it.
Use your free trial for this. It's a pretty good
article. Yeah. If not. And read it because it tells you a lot. And we'll kind of gloss over some of the highlights here. I just put down like literally 2 notes, but one of them was switching to a winter schedule, which would be cool. But I think there's a ton of challenges. There's obviously a lot of northern teams, a lot of northeast teams. But with the winter break, Scandinavian teams do it. But what that does is that allows switching to a winter schedule or traditional European / global soccer schedule. It kind of allows for discussions on Pro-Rel. I think there's been a lot of talk about Pro-Rel in USL Championship and USL League One over the past couple of years. I think they first talked about it in like 2019. But personally, I don't really think that you can do Pro-Rel unless you switch the schedules, because you have to open up the transfer windows. You have to be able to transfer players in the proper, if you're going to align to a global way of playing soccer, you have to align to the global schedule. You have to have a summer transfer window and allow players to come in and out. You have to have a winter transfer window to allow players to come and go as well. Doing Pro-Rel in the summer just makes it very hard, because then your mid-season transfer window is when the European transfer windows close. Like that, it doesn't work out. It's a very awkward situation. So those are a couple of them exciting things. And I think that the news was that those were going to be pretty much voted on at the formal meetings, which are this winter. I think they said December. But who knows? Like Jerry said, it could be a couple years away, but in reality, that's really is pretty damn fast in soccer terms. Obviously in San Diego, we don't have any problems with winter schedules. I think it'd be pretty cool to have kind of summers off, quote unquote off from this, to be able to kind of enjoy the European soccer that goes on, or international soccer, the Gold Cup
and international breaks too. Have your team break when they break.
Honor international breaks is one of the things that bothers me about MLS and USL. But regardless, it's just a lot. There's a lot of other good news in there. Nick put it really well in Discord. He said basically this is USL saying to MLS, "Fuck you, we're going to do what we want," and that's a really good summary, right? It's basically saying we're not tied to your schedules anymore. We're not tied to we don't need you anymore. We've kind of grown into our own league where we don't need the two teams to survive anymore. In fact, the two teams are dragging us down. So get out of here. You're dragging the soccer down. The quality of soccer is lower because you guys are still here. And it's not untrue. I mean, you look across the league, look across the standings, most of the two teams are in the lower half of the standings because they don't really care about results. They're not looking for it. They're looking for development. And there's value in that, but there's also value in creating a second division soccer league that's results based and looking for that too. So it's exciting. There's a lot of exciting things coming out of it. We don't, there's obviously no results yet, but there's a lot to look forward to.
Totally. I think it's kind of looking at the ways that the leagues were built in the first place, right? MLS was built in like almost a very Americanized NFL style model that was very much fake it till you make it. Like we're going to pretend that we're bigger than we are until we can build the stadiums we want and fund it the way we want. And they've kind of gotten to that level now. They've reached that, but there's really nothing under that, right? For them to say that they have ownership of, and that's why they're creating this downward structure for seemingly their minor leagues, right? And so what's happening is you're reaching with USL. I think this has always been part of the plan. They were an insurgent model. So the idea was, how do we find cities and stadiums that are open, AAA baseball or minor league baseball ownership, right? For lack of a better group, and really pitched to a lot of them and said, hey, would you like to be a soccer person in your city? Here's a model to do it. Either if you are an owner of a club or if you have a baseball stadium in your city, that's one way that you can get up and running, right? Same sort of revenue stream, similar ideas. But, loaning of players coming down from upper leagues because they had such a cachet in MLS, they had to almost buy into that cachet of players. Now that they've developed their own clubs, like us, places like Madison in League One, that they're saying, hey, these are the ideal, Phoenix as well. This is what we want from a club, is to have independence, run its own thing. Phoenix even has its own, feeder in Tucson now. So you really have all these different levels in terms of not just USL and MLS, but I look at USL almost like a rocket now, and they're taking off and they're shedding off, I've been watching For All Mankind way too much, but they're shedding off the booster rocket that got them into orbit, right? Out of the atmosphere to get off Earth, to lift the league into a space where it could exist and you could actually have teams like this. And so, yeah, they're shedding a lot of the Americanisms, at least, that they had to conform to work with MLS, and saying, we don't need to do, if we're not working with MLS that closely, we don't need to do any of this, right? We don't need to do any of this. Now we're in space. We're out of the Earth's orbit, and we can kind of go in any direction we want. And so it's going to be interesting to see where this goes for sure, because it's the owners could also feel differently. You could have some owners that say, nah, but you could also have a majority that really want this.
It just hit me how perfect you use that, Drew, because I do see Phoenix Rising as the douchebag that is Jeff Bezos, and so that definitely makes sense.
Their rocket would be a similar shape. That's all I'm saying.
Cocky mother.
They only were in space for 10 minutes, but they're going to tell everybody about it for the rest of their life. That's Phoenix. There you go.
All right, we're running out of time, guys.
We're running out of time.
We have some locals topics we got to hit before we
do. We do. So,
cool topics.
I would say we sent out a survey, a game day survey earlier this week. And Jerry already shouted out Nicole, our director of marketing, for work she's been putting in. But Nicole did a ton of work to put the survey together, and she's done a ton of work to already compile results for us. We've gotten some incredible results, incredible feedback. I've read through them all, but we're still going to go through and we're still going to find trends, and we're going to do some actions on it. This week is probably too soon to do that. But that being said, the survey is still open. If you're listening or watching and you haven't done the survey, please do so. It really, really helps us out. Even if you're like, I'll just talk to him on game day. No, please take the time to fill out the survey, because this is where we're going to print it all out on paper, and we're going to really find trends and really start to change the game experience.
Drew's doing I want you to fill out our survey.
So please, seriously, it does make a difference. It does matter. It's really easy to kind of scroll through and say, whatever. What I say doesn't matter, but no, it really does. Please. Even if you're like, this is perfect, I don't want to change anything, which is of course what I want to hear. But please just seriously fill it out. Please do so.
The feedback we've gotten is great so far. So thank you for those who did fill it out. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And a lot of it it's affirming, and a lot of it is weirdly like a lot of people have the same idea, but they voice it in different words. So it is really nice to hear different versions and different ways of expressing it to hit different chords. But a lot of the feedback's just been really nice too. So thank you so much for your nice words. We were all kind of in some tears by the end of reading it. Some laughing tears, but mostly just like nice, like moist, like, hey, this is I said the bad word. But yeah, just like a, little bit of a teary eye just from everybody really being really nice. Sorry, Steve. Next announcement.
Next minute.
Oh no, Steve went away.
We lost Capcom with Steve.
I dropped.
There he is.
I dropped.
There we go.
I was going to say, I don't know where I dropped, but I'll finish on the survey topic is we're going to be doing a bigger survey here, probably in the next month-ish. They do take a little bit of time to kind of compile regarding other topics like merch and communications and what else can we be doing in the community. Like there's a lot more that we want feedback on. So stay tuned to those emails. But this specifically, we wanted to put together for game day since that your responses now can impact game days to come. So
hey, talking about game day.
One thing.
Talking about game day. Bums Parking Lot.
Yes.
What about it? What's happening?
So Bums Parking Lot
stuff.
That was one of the big topics that in that survey. We've had the last couple of weeks have been day games, but it has been a light showing. So please come out to Bums Parking Lot. We put a ton of work in every week to make that happen. The club does a good service for us to kind of make that happen for us, to give us this opportunity.
No, Steve's muted. There you go.
Oh no, I don't know what happened. We do have an opportunity to do this, and it is we don't get to tailgate traditionally, but this is the best we have. So please come out. We're not limiting this to members, so please bring your friends. Please tell your friends. Bring your family. Come show us. Show them what we're all about, and let's get a chance to meet new people. The March is a really cool event. Like Jerry said before, music. I think we're going to do some cool chant stuff this week. And there's some more games and some other ideas that we have based on this feedback, but it's just too quick to kind of make happen this week. But in weeks to come, we're going to try to make that event a little bit more focused. I think was one of the feedback things that really resonated with me. So please come out to Bums Parking Lot. It does. It enhances the whole game day experience. Something we said from the very beginning. It's so much more than just the 90 minutes, and that's kind of what the opportunity of Bums Parking Lot gives us is the chance to kind of gather as a group before the match and talk, and then during the match we sing for 90. So please come down.
Everybody come out because we're gonna have a special showing by DJ Spotify. So yeah, come and check it out.
Perfect.
It'll be a jam. I'm excited. Just come, just as you are. Who cares? Probably wearing a Locals t-shirt or a loyal shirt. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to throw that song in there.
Sure. Come.
Yeah.
Hey, Pride Raiser, Drew, take it away. What have we done?
Pride Raiser, man. We have.
We need some. Help
we still have some unfulfilled. I don't want to be the bad cop here, but And Steve, did you just put up your finger? Are you one of those people?
Yeah, I am.
Did you figure? And it's hard. You get these emails. You get emails about a lot of stuff, and it's like, well, you got to do it though.
I did the Locals pledge, and then I got distracted, and I didn't finish my pledge. But
your personal pledge.
Yeah, so I am one of the guilty ones, and I'm speaking from my heart that please fill them out, fulfill the pledges. I just got this update from our director of philanthropy, Tom, just literally a few hours before we started recording. So I
love the honesty.
There's a few others besides myself that are still open. So if you are one of those people, please go on and fulfill your Pride Raiser. I know I'm going to be doing mine right after this podcast ends. But that being said, we are currently
$624, by the way. $624 are still missing. People.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry.
I just did it in my head right now. I don't know if it's right.
But that is $5,705.28 out of the $6,329.28 that we have raised. So I would say it's a majority that has already paid too. but we want to get that to 100% because you made a pledge, I made a pledge, and that needs to be paid up. And I certainly plan on doing that. So the people who are yet to do so, please do so.
That's still a very good amount. Everybody that made a pledge, please go ahead and fulfill that thing. We're almost there. We're pretty close, and I'm just very, very proud of everybody that participated. This will definitely not be the last year that we do it. Pride Raiser was amazing, and guess what? We scored a bunch of goals, so even better. You get to celebrate by helping out and being
we did
good community, giving back to the
6,300 total. I mean, that's 60. Yeah, that's an awesome number. So it's pretty cool to see this kind of it's everybody throwing in. Here's a cent here, here's a little bit here. It adds up to a lot. So it's really fun to see that kind of escalation when you thought, hey, this is growing, and it keeps growing, and then it keeps getting to numbers where you didn't even think it would get to. So really appreciate everybody and the giving spirit, and that's what it's all about. It really is all about giving back and building community through our time and our effort, both on and off the field, right? We don't get to go on the field, but you know what I mean in terms of in stadium versus out of 109 kind of stuff. And so the more we can make the world a better place outside of 109, we'll have more to sing about inside of 109. So I love seeing this, and especially this game with this community. It's an awesome place to see. Literally put your money where your mouth is. Do it.
Like it. All right, that's it. That's gonna do it for us. I mean, I can't really stay too much for an after hours like we normally would because I work now, y'all. So I know I joined the workforce again. Sorry, but
we're gonna break down our favorite Thomas the Tank Engine moments.
Maybe. Okay, fine.
We don't have to do that.
A little bit. That's gonna do it for us for episode 45. We'll stick around if you're here live with us for a little bit to chat. Just a little bit off the cuff.
We're going to speculate on the future of American soccer, so you better stick around.
Nothing important. So, just small topics like that one that Drew just mentioned.
The meaning of life.
Yeah, the meaning of life. Why? How we came to be. I just read a book too. It's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by you know which one I'm talking about. Yes. Yeah. So it's fantastic. It's such a good book. We'll talk about that. All right. See you guys next time. Go loyal.
See you guys.
And we'll see you next time.
Love
Bye.
You. Hey, my name is Chad from Ramona, and I think you guys should have better beer selection at the parking lot.
I don't like this.
It's not surfing.
You sound just like Chad from Ramona, actually.
Yeah. Chad from Ramona. Yeah, I think you should have Julian Hartsider.
Julian Apple Pies.
Yeah, the news about the leagues is very interesting. I find that to be the most interesting.
Yeah. Hold on, why don't you have Pliny the Elder?
Pliny the Elevator?
Pliny the Elder.
Oh yeah. Why isn't O'Brien's our beer tent, right?
Because Pliny isn't a stone beer. That's why. That's your answer.
Oh. Yeah. You guys all. I love Stone, but golly, I also like different beers.
Yeah. We have so many.
Unfortunately, there's no words that say other beers in that contract. It's just a Stone beer.
No. Did you see the contract?
No,
I'm
just making assumptions.
Can we go in and change that PDF, please? That'd be rad.
Actually, guys, this is what your contract says. You might want to check that contract again.
What we're gonna need to do is go send Jack Black to go and change that document.
There you go.
I already beat OC once. We can do it again. Let's go.
Yeah, he'll just burn it. Yeah, he'll burn it to the ground. There you go. You gotta be. Why don't you guys have Pliny the Elder? You can't see his eyes. He's just a hat with a mouth.
No, we need Nicolas Cage to go steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm gonna steal the Stone contract. from the Loyal office. Everything's digital now. You don't even need to go in there. You could just, hack into their email. You don't even have to go anywhere, Nick. I'm gonna go.
What?
I don't know. He does. I'll buy a fake one from the gift shop and replace it with the real one.
We're gonna make Jerry sign off real fast.
Hey, no. The Book of Secrets. That's what we're talking about now. The Loyal Book of Secrets. It includes the Stone contract. It tells you also where the hell Curtis Lawal went. All the San Diego Loyal secrets are in there.
Akon, Ebenezer Akon.
Ebenezer Akon is with Curtis Lawal. They were both abducted by aliens.
No, there's a field. We went to Chula Vista once. Me and another member of leadership dropped off something for the club there. That's the walls that's behind you right now, and to just get there took like all these different. I think they're just on a field back there, and nobody's found them. There's just so many fields there at Chula Vista. They're off on one. Maybe they're in the Olympics. Maybe they got on the wrong plane to Tokyo. I don't know what happened. That's what I think. That's my theory.
They're totally doing a different sport now than in the Olympics.
If you ever end up down there, it's just like you could get lost in that place real easy. So I think that's what just happened. I think they're just lost.
Who else do we want to know
that
where
place
the hell
is
they
confusing.
Your own Michele? That's what, dude. We've lost so many players. We don't even know like where they. You remember that guy?
I know.
Do you guys remember Samura? Like Suleiman Samura? There's another one. I mean,
yeah.
Game maybe, but
to Nate's point, I think from last year, I think on some interview he said we had like too many players. Maybe Landon said that too. We had almost like too many players last year, and it does feel like that when you're like, oh yeah, that guy, and it's just like they're just one or two games in and out.
Well, very rarely, I doubt very many of the people that are listening to this podcast are like, oh yeah, where did that guy go?
Right. But we know, we keep track.
That's what After Hours is for.
Yeah,
it's where the I still want to talk about this league stuff because, like, seriously.
Oh yeah. So what's going on? So fill me in because pretend like I didn't read it. I read through it really fast and I caught like all the points that you said, Steve, but. I mean, the one that really stuck out and really was surprising was the idea that USL may actually be looking at a way to become the league, which is like, what?
Yeah, I mean, the implications here are huge, right? I mean, there's how long have people been clamoring for MLS to go to ProRel? And if USL doesn't, even at a lower level, there's a big chance that the diehard soccer community in America, kind of says, whoa, like, MLS, you've kind of been king, but you refuse to adapt to what we want as in the American Soccer Voice, because the American Soccer Voice is getting smarter, right? We're all of a sudden we're able to watch European soccer and global soccer, and we know what ProRel is. We're no longer just looking for a league that mimics the NFL, right? We want a league that's on par with the rest of the world. And so if USL really gives us that, I think it's a chance for USL to really say, we're going to do ProRel and we might be D2, D3 here for a few years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, but there's a big chance that USL could pull equal to MLS within 10, 15 years. Maybe that's stretching it, but as far as stadium goes and notoriety and how slowly things actually happen. But I don't think it's really far-fetched to say USL has a real chance to like grow, because I mean, if you really think about it, consumers drive advertisements drive money, and money drives TV contracts, etc. Like if consumers turn to USL because of the ProRel, like everything's going to change really fast.
Well, and it's interesting as soccer fans in this country because I think we feel held at gunpoint by MLS, for lack of a better analogy.
Yeah.
But like, because it feels like, hey, if you're going to get top level soccer, you don't know you can't go anywhere else. This is it, right? Like they're like the mafia, almost like, where else are you going to go? Well, you're going to go somewhere else. You got protection here. Where else are you going to go? And like that's how the MLS feel. They've always felt like this bully, and so it's USL almost saying we've built up this coalition of clubs that's bigger than the big guys, right? So you have a few big cats. Versus, and it was literally started by 4 dudes who owned like half the teams or all of the teams in MLS at one point. And it's hard to say that it was a dream of many as opposed to a dream of a few versus USL, I think, is the dream of many. And so it's not 100% right, and not everything they do is 100% right, but they're really calling the bluff on a lot of these long-held American soccerisms by people lawless to call out one, right? To say like, well, this will never work here, right? And we'll see. Maybe it won't. But like, I think they're just saying, they're trying to throw it out and say, let's call your bluff. You guys have said for years, you can't do this, you can't do that. We see a pathway to, and this is where I'm really curious, create a space to have a pro rel, and then possibly, and this is what I don't understand, if you buy into MLS, do they like suck you up? Like, can the Timbers exist, for instance, outside of MLS if they were to like want to leave? Right? That's the thing. Or the Sounders or LAFC or whoever. Like, is that a possibility? Or are they, entities of the league in a sense to where that it would be a messy divorce in any case? But like, is there a way to buy out? And that's the thing that I think would create a, like, I don't know if there's really a way to go that direction, but that's the thing that would at least create momentum for fans to demand, like, hey, well, we want what they have over there, right? And so even if you can't get out of the league, for instance, fans, as you said, Steve, the money driving commerce that way, MLS isn't a top 10 league by millennials or Gen Z in this country. The top 10 things they watch, e-gaming, everything else included, MLS is still like 12th or 11th. So it is one of those things where all of the other quote unquote major sports are in there. And so we do watch a ton of soccer. Premier League is up there. Champions League is in there. Those are all top actually 5 for our generations, the people at least on this podcast. So I think that's what I find interesting is, is there a shift to, hey, we see that there's a market here, that people obviously don't align soccer with just MLS, right? They align it with this overseas thing. And so by internationally bringing in those ideals, as you said, playing the calendar the right way, doing the breaks the right way, being able to pull in players internationally that just, it doesn't align with their schedule literally to play here. That will be interesting because you could see a lot of European partnerships even possibly with these leagues. I would rather partner with the European team than MLS. When people talk about partnerships, that would be a lot better for us and our players.
Yeah, look at Orange County Rangers. Yeah, it is. I mean, Jerry, those were pretty much the highlights.
Shh, Steve. Abel's here to listen to Drew sing Beyonce. Psych! We ain't going there. I'm just kidding. Steve's
Jerry doesn't want to be here that long.
Now I gotta go, y'all. As it is, if you see like the color of my face going lighter and darker or whatever, it's because of I'm moving stuff around my computer screen and it's changing because I'm trying to upload. I won't forget to upload to the podcast this week. I promise. I'm doing it right now. No, but I agree with everything that you said. Steve, what were you gonna say though? I feel like I cut you off.
No, I was going to say I think we pretty much covered the big highlights. There's some other little tidbits in there about Charlotte Independence owner Domenico selling his stake, the video game stuff. That's pretty cool. And then Ryan
They're negotiating for a video game so we can play as loyal in a video game at some point. That's the hope. Yeah.
The vice president of communications of the community, Ryan Madden, is stepping down. That's kind of sad to see. I met him in Phoenix when I was in Phoenix for the opening match. He was a really good guy. So I'm not sure what the future holds for him, but those are kind of the highlights that I'm seeing right here. There's some other little tidbits in here, but I'm going to say you could have to read it to find out.
Yeah. So real quick to Drew's point, there's no way I believe ever that any of the teams that are under the MLS banner are going to ever leave or could survive outside of it. No, they can't legally, contractually. The club is actually not even owned, majority owned by the people that are the owners. It's by MLS. Yeah. MLS owns the teams. Right. So I don't see that, being a thing. And yes,
and that's what's hard. Yeah.
I believe that if USL does what they say they want to do, they are very well set up to destroy MLS because of that specific thing. The freedom and the growth of that league would be limitless because USL runs things differently. So I'm excited. We'll see what happens. I didn't think I would ever see it in my lifetime. I was hoping that, maybe by the time I'm in like an old person's home that it would be happening.
Yeah, totally. I thought like 30 years down the line, maybe we'd get it together.
But if the conversation is getting to the point where, because I mean, you guys remember this. I mean, pro rel was dirty terms like for a long time. Where it's like, you don't talk about that.
You don't
just
whisper.
Right. We only whisper about pro rel. Everybody else was like, we're just trying to build what's here, man. They're like, don't fuck it up for us.
You know? It was a little flame, right? It was a little fire. We just didn't want it to go out. So you're just like protecting it, like keep the fire lit. Like don't let the fire go out.
Now you're telling me promotion and relegation is like a possibility? Like it's being talked about? Right. That's a big improvement. Even if it doesn't happen anytime soon, that already is huge in my mind. I mean, ECFC, that'd be rad, actually.
The possibility that in the fact that USL's even talking about this says what they're about, right? Because, I mean, I remember when this club was first founding, it's still like a $10 million fee to go into USL Championship. But imagine if you can go into USL. Imagine if you can go into USL League One instead and then get promoted in the USL Championship. Like, there's a possibility for people and owners who maybe don't have the huge capital up front to build something and create something that's community driven and then build something, beautiful. Like, there's a lot
DCFC, right? Fan driven.
It's so cool
you could actually do that. You could actually build a club with fans like DCFC has, bring it up from a 4th or 3rd division, as Steve's saying, and plug them into that structure. And I think like that's what's available. So a lot of these, not MPSL. What used to be MPSL, what's becoming the USL League 2, essentially, in a lot of ways. Yeah, and NISA is kind of filtering a lot of these too. You can see a world where this is a much more viable prospect to them to say, oh, I could be in League One in a couple of years. I could be in the championship in a few years. And maybe one is right for your city or the other, right? For certain cities, trying to go to the championship in the next 5 years might not be attainable, but you can build up from where you're at in League 2 to League 1. And so I think a lot of that is going to be really interesting to see what opportunities that opens up for people, because a team like Madison, I think, has always seen like they could be a top, higher level, at least in USL. In terms of the attendance they have, everything they do is right on par with a lot of, the teams. Like, they obviously have higher attendance than Galaxy 2. Most teams do, but like even Vegas, right? I'd say they do a better product and a better game day experience than somewhere like Vegas that has crazy game day experience, but for their fans, it would be at the top of any list. So do they deserve to be in championship? Yeah, but I think they almost like want to be one of the first teams ever promoted in American soccer to say like they did it, right? Because I think for them it would mean a lot, but that's also their story. It's going to take a number of years for a market like that's only 400,000 people to build up to the size of feeling like they have a club that's something, right? And you see this in England a lot because you've had these clubs that build up that community aspect and then they go up the table, and it's a very special thing. It's much more special than if you just get shot to the top of the table because some person with a lot of money buys your club.
Much money.
Just saying. Yeah, I don't know. So it's that kind of thing where I think that's what it is, and it's missing from a lot of American sports, right? It's unique in American sports. So I think that's what's going to be curious for me is like, how does this fit into this landscape? And is it so radically different if they choose to go this way that people, it changes the dynamic of the landscape? Because right now, as one of those clubs, you either say I'm NISA, where they let me do what I want and I can be fan-owned or I can do what I want, versus USL saying, hey, you can still do that, but we give you a way up as well, right? You have to give us a little buy-in, probably a little bit, not even financially, but even maybe give on some of the finer aspects of agreeing to be part of a structure. But you get this benefit of being able to rise your club up as you succeed on the field, like somebody like Detroit has done continuously from a point of being fan-owned and, in some of these lower divisions. So I'm thrilled for what's next, but as Jerry said, I'm still in shock. I don't believe that it's like a thing, and I'm looking for ways for it to go wrong, like the owners voting it down or something like that. But it does feel like they wouldn't put this out if they weren't, very optimistic about winning a press battle in some ways to make sure that when this does come about, that it's seen as a shift, as opposed to just something that's maybe like, oh yeah, this league is trying something, but seen as more of an equitable stake in whatever the future of American soccer. As Jerry said, I see a world where this replaces, that, and you can have a North American Premier League or whatever you want to call it, but something that would be a little different and based on merits as opposed to who can build a soccer-specific stadium in their city with a bunch of taxpayer money or whatever. Like, that's what it felt like for years with some of these American sports leagues, not even just MLS, but any league, right? If you want to do that versus something that's community-driven, which is why we're, to go back to the Warren point, glad that he brought this league to our city, is to give us a chance to have a community-based team as opposed to something that would be, maybe more, more or less a different type of league than the league that we ended up with. So I am really happy that we ended up in this league too. I at first it was, it's what you're getting, and as it's gone on, every second that I learn more about what the league's trying to do and who the lifeblood of the league is, not just the people running the league, but just the everyday people, the people who are in New Mexico, the people who are in Rio Grande and show up to games, right? And El Paso. They're just like the best people. Like they're really just like the best soccer fans, like in the United States. Like they're the best kind of soccer fan. Even the stupid Phoenix ones but there's some who actually know what they're talking about and are actually okay. But 99% of them are terrible. But just kidding. But like it's cool to see that kind of passion because it's real, right? As opposed to, oh, I'm rooting for this because it's the league or it's the biggest league, right? It's MLS, whatever. Like if you want to live in that dream, like you're never going to be happy if you're just like, oh, I'm chasing the league. I just want this.
We have a big enough country that we can have 2 leagues.
That's what I'm thinking too. There's so much space.
There's so much. So I mean, there's that too. Man, you could
have 50 North American major soccer teams. I think you really could,
dude.
And
that's crazy. So I mean, everything is possible, and I think Jason got his question answered there in the comments. But the sky's the limit now. I mean, it's being talked about now. Let's dream together.
NWO, baby. We're the NWO.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the Latinos one? That was kind of like the NWO.
Oh yeah. That was like the revival.
That in World Order, right? The LWO.
Yeah, the LWO. That's what we are. I've joked it was the pin comment on my thing. It might still be
World Order.
Well, my joke for a while has been you should have the California Premier League just break off. I
mean, we're gonna break off eventually, according to
take all the clubs we got and make our own Premier League. It'd probably be one of the best in the world if we just focused on developing California teams and infrastructure. It'd actually do pretty well. But yeah, you could do that in probably any sport, and other states talk about it disgustingly. They hate us if you're not aware that they're always like California getting more teams, doing more stuff in all sports. Like, yeah, there's 40 million people who live here, so it would make sense statistically, but. It is always funny to see other places just be like, oh, there's always so many things happening out there. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people and we do stuff. We're always moving. That's the whole bit. In California, we never stop. Always moving. Like those lizards in the sun doing little push-ups.
You're so
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, though? The lizards, they walk out of the bush and then they're like...
All right, guys, I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's call it.
As we talk about never resting, now we have to go rest because it is late. But we got to rest for Saturday. Get our voices ready.
I feel like we've given them enough, and people are starting to not. Oh, they hate us because they ain't us. Afmir, where you been, man? It's just 10:36 and showing up. We're calling it. Go back and watch it, Afmir. We love you, man. Everybody else that's here.
Review the tape. Taylor, let us know what we missed.
Jason. Oh, look, Steve Brokoff showed up too. Nice. Those in here. Andrew. All of y'all. Brandon.
Remember those walls they built? Well, I see they're tumbling down.
Oh my God.
And they didn't even put up a fight. They didn't even make a sound. We were with the wind, but I never really had a tip. Standing in the light of your halo. I am a local now. It's like I've been awakened.
Oh,
no rule I had to break it.
Steve's just like,
oh God.
The shot that we're taking. We're never gonna short you out. Everywhere I'm looking now. I see when you bang your breathe.
Okay, we're gonna go now.
I can see you.
Bye.
They want the Carmen. Everybody wants the Carmen.
Bums Barking Lot at 4:30. See y'all there.
4:30.
Bye.
Buenas noches. Bye.